And thank you guys for coming and tuning in to our discussion with shifting your mindset. We have two powerhouses on our panel tonight. These two are simply amazing, are walking in their own power. James will be with us later. We have Genovia that's here. We also have our VP Igaya. She's going to be our moderator for our Facebook to let us know if you guys have any questions, if you guys have anything that you would like to say, because we really want you guys to be engaging with us and have this conversation with us, not just watch us. So we are going to let Genovia introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Genovia. I am a mother of four. I am a massage therapist. I am here just to join in and try to give some insight on what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm a little nervous, y'all, but let's go.
There is no need to be nervous. We are having just an ordinary conversation. This is not asking you to have any facts about anything. I mean, it would be great if there was fact, but we're just talking about our own experiences. So when we're talking about our own experiences, that is our facts. Those are facts because we did live those things. So it's just regular. Like if we were on the telephone talking, and we could talk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and
And
hours. But
now,
we're not gonna be on here for an hour. We're not
that's all right. Ain't he all right?
doing Thank you so much for your introduction. So we're going to jump right in, and when James gets on, go back and allow him to introduce himself and give a little bit of insight. So I've been looking up mindset and just trying to get a better understanding so that I can, be able to talk about talk about the topics that I have, and to better shift my own mindset. So, research shows that mindsets play a significant role in determining our life's outcomes. By understanding, adapting, and shifting your mindset, you can improve your health, decrease your stress, and become more resilient to life's changes. Dr. Towery, he's a professor. I'm sorry, he's an instructor in the Department of Psychiatry at Stanford. He said the good news is mindsets are highly changeable. And if you are willing to learn the technology of changing your mindset and defeating your distorted thoughts, you can have significantly more happiness. So, in all of that and what I just said, is a lot to unpack. Tell me your thoughts on that. And if I need to read something, just let me know because I definitely will. But just talking about your mindset, what are your thoughts?
Um, First of all, as far as mindsets, everybody has their different mindsets. Everybody's mindset matures at different times. Um, Mindset is basically like everything. It's all in how you perceive not just yourself, but a situation or whatever. But it's basically how you perceive things. And people can literally look at the glass half empty while I'm looking at the
Mhm.
glass half full and everything,
Mhm.
and we looking at the same glass, but
Mhm.
it's all in how you look at things. So
So, in going with that, you talked a little bit of everybody have their own mindsets, and then we mature in our mindset. So, like,
mhm.
where do our first thoughts come from? Like, who helps to shape the mind? Like, you hear them say all the time, teachers and parents help to shape. Like, what really helps us shape our mindset? Or what? You know
I
what? Let's
can
not talk about the collective. Let's just talk about us as ourselves. Like, who helped you to create your mindset?
um me personally, I can agree that teachers and parents have helped shape my mindset, as well as like pastors. My pastor has helped shape my mindset, but situations Um,
Okay.
whatever we go through help shape our mindset, whether it's a good or a bad thing. So I know, like, I've been through some things, so that made me, whether good, bad, or indifferent, that made me shift or change my mindset, whether it was for the good or for the bad. And I'm trying to get to a point myself personally in shifting my mindset more so towards the good, because for so long I didn't have the greatest, I guess, mindset.
What do you contribute to not having the greatest of mindsets?
Um the I guess going through. Um when I thought that everything was at its wits end, um that contributed to my negative mindset. Um, but also it contributed to my positive mindset, because I knew that to go through, I had to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that till after the fact, that it made me half of the person that I am now. And I used to be the person to shut down and be like, I'm not talking about anything. Like, I used to be angry. But
Mm-hmm.
at this point in my life, like, I have to talk things out. I have to not keep things bottled up in order for my mindset to change. Because if I do revert back to where I was and keeping things bottled up, I will go right back to the mindset that I was when I was in certain situations. And those type of mindsets can lead to things like depression or thoughts of suicide, or just anything negative and everything. And I don't want to be there, because honestly, I've been there. So
So can you tell us a little bit more about your mindset? Like, um, what was it? Like, what was your state of mind going through your situations?
so um one particular situation, my thought process, my mindset was more so of the thoughts of suicide, um and, depression. A lot of people didn't know because of the mask that I wore. And it wasn't just one, it was several masks that were actually worn just to cover up what I was going through. And a, a lot of people know me for my smile. And being that that's the case, I would smile not knowing that people could tell the difference between if I'm smiling for real or if I'm just covering that up. And I didn't know until I was out of my situation that I was wearing the mask, that my mindset was a whole different thing. And people were just like, okay, well, I saw that, but I had to see it for myself in order to come out.
Why did you feel as though you needed to wear a mask?
Hmm. Um, I felt like I was supposed to be protecting reputations. Um, just that was the bulk of it. Basically protecting reputations that I really didn't have to protect. Um, I didn't want people to see me unhappy when I knew that I really was. Like, I got to a point that I wanted people to know that, or feel that I was happy all the time when I know I really wasn't, and everything. So going out in the world, it was more so of ha ha he and everything. But on the inside, like, I'm literally dying. Literally. So um But yeah, that was the big bulk of it, of protecting reputations, protecting, you know, certain lifestyles. And I just that's just what I did.
In protecting others and making sure that everybody else was okay, what did that do for your mind? Like, because everything begins with the mind, like, um, if we say we're gonna get up and do something, we got to get our mind right first, right? And it's like if you were protecting everybody else and you was doing this for everybody else and you was putting on a smile for everybody else, like
Mm-hmm.
you weren't doing anything for Genovia. You
Very
wasn't,
much so.
like we talked about last week, you weren't providing any self-care for yourself, right? So, what kind of effect did it have on you and how long did it last?
Oh wow. it had a it had a terrible effect on me. But in the in the midst of everything, like I didn't even realize that it had an effect on me. Whether, like I said earlier, good, bad, or indifferent, I didn't know that it had an effect. And um, like I said, I was literally dying on the inside, and I was more so trying to take care of house and home or whatever. I was making sure my husband was good. I was making sure my kids were good. I was even making sure like my mom was good, which I know like she was good regardless or whatever. Making sure, people got this when I knew I didn't have it and everything, and was scared to reach out and be like, oh, well, I'm struggling, not just in my heart, not just in my mind, not just physically, emotionally, or whatever. I am struggling in every aspect of life. And it shut me all the way down. And I used to be an extremely angry person. And I don't even know why. Because it's been like that for a while or whatever. But in the flip side of that, I was still happy at times and everything. And I know certain situations in my life made me more of an angry person, but I was literally like angry, but didn't want to tell anybody that this is how I feel. This is, what I need. And it broke me all the way. And it took my child to like come and talk to me one day. And at the time he was let me see, he was probably about 12 or 13. And like he came in my room one day and I literally threw the pillow at him. And from that day I was just like, oh no, like I gotta get up or whatever, because I have to not just be here for my kids, but I had to be here for myself. And I lost myself so long ago, which I didn't realize either. And that brought me to a point that I just like, yo, we gotta move from here. We gotta move. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where I am now.
Before I ask my next question, Igaya, I saw that your hand raised. Do we have any comments from Facebook?
No, 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 no. I was messing around trying to multitask between the apps. I got you.
Okay. Okay.
Terrible.
You said one thing that I want to touch on is that you said you didn't reach out because you were scared.
Hmm.
What is it that was going on in your mind that caused that fear?
So many things. One thing was I was scared that people would look at me a certain way, um, and judge me.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing was if I were to reach out, I felt like people would possibly do it, but then throw it in my face later.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I've learned, like, yo, if you doing something for somebody, you do it out of goodness of your own heart and then worry about things later or whatever. That's just like on you see somebody homeless on the street or whatever, and you don't get to a point of blasting them or whatever to say, oh, okay, well, I ran into this person today or whatever, and I gave them this or whatever, they better use it for this, that, and the other. Don't do something for me and and then throw it in my face. Regardless, if I say that I need something or need someone, and you are that person to be there, in any aspect, whether it's giving it to me or sharing it with me or having that listening ear, then do that. But don't come back and be like throwing it in my face and be like, well, when you needed me the most, I was here and blah, blah, blah. Because that's going to bring me back down. That's going to change my mind to talk to anybody else. And I'm that person personally that I feel like if I got it, especially if I'm close to you or whatever, we don't even have to be close. But if I got it, I'm going to try to share the wealth with, someone else and everything, whether it's certain shoes that I got or clothes on my back or whatever that I have that I know that I don't really need and somebody else is in need of it. I'll sit up there and be like, girl, here, you want that or whatever, because God has been literally too good in my life to get to a point to be like, yo, like, you being selfish. Don't be, trying to keep this, that, and the other all to yourself. Like I want to share. I want to pay it forward and everything. But then if you coming at me and you're just like, well, I was there, whatever. So you need to do this, that, and the other this way. Like, you're not controlling me. That's what you're not going to do. Do it out of the goodness of your own heart. And that's what we're here for, to be there for each other, to do for each other. So.
You said that was dying inside. You were scared to reach out to other people. Before I go there, let me just talk about this scared piece. From my point of view, is I feel like we are taught to not ask for help outside of, and not only are we, sometimes we're not taught by people just voicing it, but from their actions, it's like, well, I'm not going to reach out to that person, or I won't reach out to that person. I'm not going to reach out to that person. And then we have this notion of, you can't reach out to family because they're going to talk about you behind your back and da 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 da. And it's like, well, who do we run to for help? Because if you can't go over here, I can't help heal myself. Because if I could, would I be here? Oh, it's a mind thing where you have to get your mind together to say, forget it. I'm going to ask for help. And I'm going to get it however I can get it. And I think that we have to come away from that, especially the therapy piece in our community. We should go to therapy. Let me say, therapy helped me. Okay. Therapy was my friend. Therapy was good to me. Yes. I was able to talk to somebody that didn't know anything about me. They didn't be like, because I have a lot of people I feel like in my corner that's just like, oh no, Marquita, you're not wrong. Oh, anything I do, I'm right. No, I need you to tell me what I'm wrong, because if you're not, I'm going to continue to do the same thing I was doing. I'm going to continue the mindset. I'm going to continue thinking that I'm okay. But I needed somebody outside to say, oh no, baby girl, like, why was you doing that?
Exactly.
No, you can't say it like that, but you know what I'm saying? So said all that to say, when did you notice, outside of your child coming in and you throwing the pillow at him, when did you notice? And I can't believe you did this on my board.
I did.
Outside of that, when did you notice that it was time for you? Because I'm pretty sure that you noticed it before and you ignored it. What else made you realize that you needed to shift your mindset?
Mm. So after I threw the pillow at him, I think I knew I needed to shift my mindset when probably a month or so after that. Um, for me personally, I got out of the church. Being raised in the church, it was more so of a uniform thing. You do the same thing every day, wear the same thing and, have the same mindset or whatever that everybody else has. And I was just, and, you know, not to, uh,
No judgment here. This we in a safe
right,
place,
in a safe space,
so
not
you can say
to,
what you need to say.
not to shame anyone or whatever, but the church that we grew up in, like I was there, but that's all I was. I was there. I was just another person in the pew. I wasn't growing there. I wasn't being fed there. I wasn't understanding. And that was my main thing because I'm just like, okay, well, we sitting in church. And I like even getting older, I felt so bad when I didn't go to church. But in the same token, like my mind was just like, yo, why am I going? If I don't understand nothing like that they're saying or whatever. You can read me a scripture all day and then try to relate stuff to it. And I'm just like, oh, I or whatever, and leave church the same way I came or whatever. It's not until like I got older, right before I guess I got married. I had joined the church or whatever, and I understood everything, everything that this pastor was saying. And I was just like, yo, who is he? Or whatever. And I would go and I would go and I would go or whatever. But then um we went through battles or whatever of, not having transportation. Like we will be losing cars. Um like it won't nothing. So, I didn't have a ride to church and everything. And then, a lot of people didn't know, like, even though I was asking, like, if anybody knew anybody selling a car, I wasn't driving for a while or whatever. So it's not until like I got to a point and when we actually left the church and I would go less and less and less. And then I got out when like my marriage like kind of went like sour and everything. Um we end up leaving the church and everything. And when my marriage went like sour, it was more so of I can't show my face. I can't show my face in front of these people. Like what's going on? Or whatever. And I got to a point, my mind went to listening strictly to hate music. And listening to hate music, that changed my mindset a lot. And not until like I was angry. I was angry at God or whatever for so many things. Um what made me mad with him first and foremost is when my dad passed away. Like I was pissed or whatever for a while. And then like other occasions, came up and everything and I just got even angrier. So here we go with this hate music and here we go not going to church or whatever. But for me, I knew with the church I was at, I was growing. So sporadically I'll be going back and forth to church. Then I'll sit home. Then I'll go to church and I sit home. And every time I went to my church, bawling, crying. And it's just like, yo, God is literally like speaking in my ear and telling me like, yo, you need to move on. You need to, get your life together. I got you and everything. But I'm still kind of leery, and I'm still kind of uh just not wanting to give in. And one Sunday, like, I cried my eyes out, and uh I knew that just getting to a point of just uh being submissive to his will was like, yo, okay, here we are. And that's what literally turned my life around. I mean, I believe in God all day long. I can sing, I can quote some scriptures or whatever, but um, for a long time I didn't know that what those scriptures meant. And like I wouldn't tell nobody that or whatever. I'd be like, yo, I know that scripture too. What it mean? I don't know.
I know
I
it, but I don't know what it means.
I don't know what it. I don't know. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. But that's how I would literally argue a point and everything. But I, I shifted my mind to listening from hate music to gospel music, and people don't understand. Like when you literally go through, it's those hymns, it's those just gospel lyrics for some words. I mean, for some things, it hit you a whole different way. And that's how it went for me. And certain lyrics was just like, oh, okay, Lord, I hear you. I hear you, Lord. So I got to a point and I was listening to it more. And it was certain artists and certain songs and just hit me all the way different. And my mindset started to shift then. And I was a whole different person. And like I said, I used to be angry all the time. And my tone started getting softer. My kids always tell me, Mama, you yell all the time. I don't yell, I talk loud. But I would literally talk at them, not to them, but I would talk at them and everything. Now, like me and my kids have a better relationship than we had because I would sit down and I would talk to them instead of talking at them. Don't get me wrong, I still yell at them, but not as much as I used to and everything because I have like that calmer spirit. But it took me again to go through for me to get through and change my mindset. And I must say, that's been about 3.5 years now.
Okay.
So, and I'm still growing. I ain't, no spring chicken no more. But, it's a everyday process. Like, you're not going to have the perfect mindset and everything. You still going to make mistakes. You still going to do whatever. But every day, like, I'm trying to shift my mindset to be a better person. Not just for me, not just for my family, but for even people out there that I don't even know.
Right.
Because a kind word or a smile or a hug will change somebody's whole life. Whole life. And I had to learn that the hard way because even going through, sometimes you don't want to be hugged. Don't touch me. Don't talk to me. Don't nothing or whatever. Don't pity me and everything. And like you said earlier, therapy can be your best friend. And people, like you said, our community get to a point and they feel like going to therapy is basically a crutch, I guess. But baby, once you get in there and once you are able to release, that will change your whole mindset. You go in there looking at yourself as a cat, and you come out of there and you viewing yourself in the mirror, you see at first you see that cat, but later on you gonna see that tiger. Hear me roar.
Listen, I didn't
So
know where you was going with that cat scenario. I was sitting here like, where is she going with this cat? But I want to
baby.
say, before we continue, I want to say we do have some people that just came in with us, and I want to let you guys know that we want you to engage with us also and have a conversation with us. Igaya is up here as our moderator. She's going to let us know what comments you have. So y'all don't be afraid to engage with us. You know, we want you to like it and we want you to share, but we also want you to comment so that we can comment back with you. Right now we're talking about shifting your mindset, and Genovia talked about where she was and what caused her to shift her mindset. And so that's where we are in the conversation, just to catch you all up a little bit. Um, so you kind of went into my next question, which was going to be like, what steps do you take to stay on track? Because you say it's an everyday thing, right? Of course, yes, it is. We're not going to be perfect every day. We are going to have our lows, because that's just life, right? So, what do you do to make sure that you stay on track, and keeping yourself in a good place, and that making sure that you're not giving so much of yourself to everyone else before you're given to you? Because if we're and we talked about this last week, and I think people misunderstands the fact that we owe no one nothing. We only owe it to ourselves, right? If we're not taking care of way, we can take care of anybody else. You know, like people always say, you take care of others first. Take care of others first. But how long do I take care of others before I break down to where I have nothing left to give? I have nothing left to be able to help with, because my body is so shut down or whatever. Um, so what do you do? Because you sound like you are someone who does that, who gives to everybody else first. So how do you make sure that you're not just
I can't speak for everybody, but I've started to literally pray.
okay?
Again, growing up in the church, I ain't do none of that. And I'm a preacher's kid. Like, y'all, they said sometimes like we the worst ones. But I wasn't bad though. I was not bad. But like again, I would sing the songs or whatever just to be singing. I didn't know. I knew the scriptures because we had devotion every week in our living room or whatever before church. So I would know the scriptures or whatever. My daddy would pray or whatever. But and then like I would just leave it at that or whatever. On Sundays, that's what we do. The rest of the week, we do whatever else. But going through like the steps that I had to take when I first learned to like actually pray for myself, child, that turned like that turned everything around and everything. Now don't ask me to pray out loud because I'm a terrible public speaker. Terrible. But I will forget everything. I will forget and just be stuttering everywhere. And I'm not even a stutterer. But at all. But I learned for myself to pray, or that's one step that I take. I listen to music, the positive music, the gospel music. Even I mean R&B, can be positive also. I listen to that and everything. Just because you're a Christian, that don't mean you can't listen to other music. But um that calms my soul. That calms my mind. Listening to music, just doing stuff that makes me happy. Um,
Mhm.
even as my profession now, what I do, like we're supposed to make other people happy. So like that makes me happy to make other people happy and everything. I am a giver, but I hate it sometimes because of the simple fact that people will use you
Mm-hmm.
because of the simple fact of your heart, or how you carry yourself, your mindset of how you look at things, and that makes you draw back to a certain point and everything. But between prayer and listening to music and actually helping out people, that's what steps and going to therapy. Those are the steps that I take for my mind to be half of what it is right now. So
Okay. James just joined us, guys. So we're gonna allow him to introduce himself, and then we'll catch him up to where we are in the conversation. Hello, James.
All right. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm. We can hear you.
You hear me? Okay.
okay.
Yeah, James Henderson. Everybody in this room I know, from the same place and all of that. I don't know, like, what do you want me to say in terms of how to
Well,
introduce
tell us.
myself? You want to?
Just tell us about you. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
tell you, like
Well,
I told you, Novi, in the beginning. We are really just having a regular conversation.
yeah.
Like you said, all of us in this room.
Yep.
So that's it. Just a regular conversation,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't think they know in life.
I understand. Yeah. Well, my name is James Henderson. From Oxford, North Carolina. Country is all get out. Married with 3 kids. Just had a little girl who just turned 1 on Valentine's Day. Yeah, and I am a producer, music producer. Um, and music is, I heard what Zenobia was saying in regards. She was saying regarding her passion for music. I share the same passion. Um, Recently, what the biggest thing in my life is really tapping back into the spirit and allowing God to change my mindset. Having an understanding that without the spirit of God, there's no way for me to even heal from a lot of the issues that I've found myself to have and couldn't recognize over the years. A lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. You know, you can find happiness, in marriage and find happiness in your children, and you can still battle these things. It's you have to get to the root of the problem is what I've found myself to realize. And meditation, prayer is what has helped me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that everything starts in the mind. How I've been programmed to think about things, how I process things, has stunted a lot of my growth. And so I've had to I found myself, whether I had to come to a crossroads. Am I going to be stagnant? Am I going to just say, okay, this is who I am? I'll be tripping sometimes when I don't need to be tripping. That's just who I am. I'm just depressed. I'll get over the depression. Eventually I'll get over it. It's cool. It's just gonna take some time. It happens. It's been like that. I'm good. Or am I succumbing to these things and not realizing that I have the ability to overcome these things and no longer be subject to anxieties and depressions and things of that nature? And that's the journey that I'm on right now. And I found music to be a big help. Meditation, and again, like I said, to be a big help. Prayer to be a big help. Strengthening my relationship with God. What God has told me personally was that I need to reevaluate what a relationship with Him is. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the journey that I'm currently on, and I don't mind sharing that with everybody because I feel like everybody should reevaluate their relationship with God.
Very much
Because
so.
we a lot of times have painted a picture like I have a relationship with God. Well, do you? One, really take the time to reassess what your relationship looks like and what God is requiring from you versus what you think God wants. Two different things, right? So change of mindset, is what I've been having to deal with. And I've been doing it, and it's been quite productive. I've seen a lot of fruit from it. To God be the glory. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a blessed man. I can say that, and I'm happy. You know what I mean? But that's who I am in a nutshell. I make amazing music, dope music, and that's that. I don't mean to say it like that. I don't mean to say it like that. You know what I'm saying? But and stuff, So, but that's me. Hello world, and that's it. I'm sorry that I came in a little late. My apologies. I had some issues with the ride that I had to get fixed, and them boys took forever with it. So it's neither here nor there, but I'm here now. So I jumped in on the conversation. I wish I would have jumped in at the beginning because it sounded like it was kind of good. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was talking like, she liked listening. It was stuff I wanted to say when she was saying it. She was like, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
I heard a few things. I was like, okay, but I'm gonna jump in where I can jump in. So y'all go ahead. I want to get into y'all's flow wherever y'all are right now.
Let them
So
talk, Lord. Let them talk.
A quick recap. Just letting
up.
know you was already hitting on a little bit of the things that we were talking about. So we talked about. Let me go back up to my notes so I can see. We really just talked about how our mindset affects our life's outcomes. How we have to adapt and we have to shift. How it can improve your health and decrease stress. And it can make you more resilient in your life challenges. And so like I asked her about where did she learn what was the question I asked you? Where did you learn about your mindset? Basically, like who taught you how to think about certain things, right? Like who helped to shape your mind, right? So who helped to shape your mind?
Talking to me?
Yeah, you. She already answered.
We've already passed that.
I mean, I firmly am. I'm coming to realize the who has shaped my mind is deeper than that. It's not just who has shaped my mind. It's what has shaped my mind. Where has shaped my mind. Our environment is what shapes our mind. And the environment that you were raised in, whatever the case may be, shapes how you come into a comfortability of thinking. But the way you grow up thinking is who you become. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so who shaped my mind? I mean, everybody, all of my family, all of my friends, all of them helped shape my mind because they help, you're at home, whether it was a good situation at the house, whether it wasn't. In my case, it wasn't really that nice. You know what I mean? Like it was I had very beautiful things that happened around me at home, but then I had some real serious damaging things that can damage anybody's psyche. That happened at home, and that kind of molded how I perceive love. For example, the process of falling in love and staying in love. Those things that my home upbringing molded that. We kind of imprint ourselves on our parents, so and so how they are directly influences how you are. That's just that's natural, you know. And for people who are lacking a parent, you know, you kind of naturally want to have, you want somebody there that can, you know, help you through the you know, through your path, through your journey. So whether you have it or you don't, that molds your mindset, you know, to some degree. How to get to the bottom of it though, requires a lot of introspective work. You got to start to think, you know,
Yes.
and go inward more than most people want to. Because when you go inward, you start dealing with the true dirt and the issues and the muck and the filth that you gotta clean up, and that's hard. That's not an easy thing.
You was hitting it, boy. I tell you, like
that's just
the
facts. These the facts, though, right? Like, I mean, because you gotta think, you once you start to even come to the conclusion of, because it's kind of become a cop out in my personal opinion. People will say, you know, that's just who I am.
Yeah,
exactly.
Come on in here, sir.
That's not just that's who you're comfortable with being.
Right.
That's what that is. Now, whether or not you walk this particular walk of faith, you know what I mean? If you are a spiritual person and you have come to realize, hope, you know, God has shown you that, hey, you're not the person that you should be. Now you have to take account, okay, so then who should I be? Now that journey requires you to go inward. That journey requires you to start finding the root of issues, not just, okay, this problem exists because my mother was a certain way, or my father did these things, or done these things, or wasn't there, or was there, or whatever. You got to go deeper than that.
Very much,
you know. I've come to realize a lot of the root of everything. Everything starts with, that's amazing. The question that you had proposed, I can't remember it. I'm gonna have to read it, or unless you can read it to me. The question that you wanted everybody to think. Can you read that? Can you read that to me?
That quote.
Yeah, that quote.
Yeah. It said, hold on. The good news is mindsets are highly changeable. And if you are willing to learn the technology of changing your mindset and defeating your distorted thoughts, you can have significantly more happiness.
All facts. But if you could learn the technology, that's just a better way of saying, to me, or another way, not to say better, but is another way of saying, if you could figure out how to change your thoughts, because essentially for me, I believe that everything is formulated. You are what you are, how you think. Number one,
right?
We know that, right? We all agree with that?
Yes.
So you are how you think. So if you a savage, that means you having some savage thoughts. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got some. There's something in you that's making you think savagely. You know what I'm saying? You're thinking savage thoughts. You're thinking about real devious and cunning and ways and divisive ways of doing a thing, and then those thoughts lead to an emotion, and of course your emotions will lead you to an action,
right?
And then those actions will lead to an outcome, whatever that outcome is,
right?
So that's the process: thoughts, emotions, actions, outcome. So if you want a different outcome in your life, you got to change your actions. And in order to change your actions, you got to have some control over your emotions.
Oh, come on here, sir.
which is what's hard for people to do. People have trouble with controlling their emotions, but that's because it's not just because, oh, I don't know how. It's because you first got to go deeper than that. You got to change how you think.
Yes.
Because, and then once you sell out to a certain way of thinking, your emotions about the thoughts will change. And then those actions will change. And then your outcome will be different. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Come on.
It's everything starts with the mind. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I believe. And if you read scripture, that's what it said. Like, you, in order to truly change, or another word for change, if people don't know, is repent. That's another word for it. In order to truly repent or to change, you got to first change how you think first. That's what I know. That's what I believe and I stand on. You know what I'm saying? And so, but that's hard. That's not easy. I'm not saying it like, oh, boom, that's all you got to do. Yeah, that is all you got to do, but that ain't easy. And in finding out how to do that, that is the learning the technology. I think that learning the technology part of that quote is figuring out how to change your thought. And that's a whole nother one. I ain't trying to get extra spiritual in this junk, but you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, the best way to change my thoughts is truly to allow God to show me how to think. You know what I'm saying? So
that's true.
We're supposed to have the mind of Christ. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why it's worded that way. You gotta think like Christ, because doing so will lead you to do the righteous things, and you will have the outcomes, the righteous outcomes, the good out, whatever the outcomes may be, but they came from righteous thoughts. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, that's it. Yeah, I'm off my soapbox.
Speaking of here, that
you're doing good. So good.
Speaking over here.
I ain't trying to listen, man. I'm just talking. I'm talking about my experience. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm really just like, I know for sure I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
You hear me?
Right.
Eventually you got to get sick of it and you got to get tired of it. And for me, the only way to change, to come up out of that is to change how I'm thinking about things. Having kids, when you already are very anxious, I don't know who got kids in here. I'm just saying, when you are anxious, very anxious, and you depressed, having kids, is rough. You understand? Like, your kids will have you on edge. They have you on edge. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I worry. You know what I'm saying? I worry a lot. But then doing that,
pillows, Marquita.
huh? What you say?
That's why we was throwing them pillows.
Oh, he missed that. He missed that part.
Listen, look, kids. I feel like are God's way of really, really showing you this is what I got to deal with. I feel like that's what God be saying. When I'm dealing with you, this is what I deal with.
This is what I deal with.
This is what I deal with.
However many you got, this is what I deal with.
This is what I deal with. This is you. When you sit here and wilding, I tell you to do something and you act like you don't hear me when you know you hear me, and you sit here and do what you want to do, and you ready to blank and you ready to snap. I don't snap.
I'm gonna show you.
No, God is like, I don't snap. But you do.
Yep.
And you're supposed to be like me. So check. Are you thinking like me? Are you thinking about the situation like me? Are you, when you see your kids going crazy and doing things, and the disobedience is rampant, and it's apparent, and you have to repeat yourself over and over and over and over, act like God don't have to repeat himself to you over and over and over. Everybody in here. So, but I have to repeat myself over and over and over and over, and you still wilding.
Yeah.
And I'm still patient. You feel me? That's how God's saying it. Like, where your patience at?
So
You feel me? So, but now I have to think, okay, why am I not able to do it? Why am I claiming I can't do? Why am I struggling to do it? Now I got to go inward. I got to figure out, okay, what in me is causing me to wild out? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for me to. It's all about my mindset and seeing a thing, how I perceive a thing. You know, and changing that, like adjusting my thoughts towards a thing. That's hard, but it's able to be done. I know that for sure, and I stand on that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's hard. Don't get me wrong. Zip.
Change in general is hard.
Very, very.
So change in general is hard. Then you want to talk about changing your mind? Like, I gotta change my mind. Like, what I thought all these years is not true. You know what I mean? Because some of the things, we talk about this also in self-care. Some of the things that we thought and we knew, or we knew were true, weren't true, right? Some of the thoughts or things that we were taught that we thought were true weren't true, right? But we still, you know what I'm saying, have to change. We still have to change our thoughts. We still have to get there for ourselves, because what we thought and who we got it from can't stand for us in the day of judgment. You know what I'm saying? They can't stand in our spot. We stand in our spot. Mm-hmm. It's up to me to get myself together. It's up to me to control. The one thing that you said is the one thing that I am working on right now, and it's the hardest thing ever, is to control my emotions. Because once you learn to control your emotions, you have power over everything. And as long as somebody has that type of power over you, they can control your mind. And if they can control your mind, everything else will soon follow. And so, like, I'm on a journey, and I guess y'all can tell by my many topics that I'm putting out for
it's good
chats
though.
with Matt, you know. And I just feel like I just want to be able to put it out there for other people to reevaluate themselves, right? And my mind shift really didn't come until recently. You know, like, I always thought I was together. I always thought I was the happiest person. But it was one thing that, I don't know if it was you or Genovia had said, or I think it was you. You just came on and said it was, I had to look inward and see all my ugly parts, right? I sent a message to my sisters and them. It was like, I'm that sibling. Like, I'm always asking for money. Like, that's me. I don't want to be that sibling. No, no, we all got to make it. But it's, and Genovia said earlier, our situations have also helped to shape our mindset to get us in the place of where we are. But I'm new to this journey of shifting my mindset, and controlling my emotions. What did you do, James, to help you? No, when did you realize that you needed to shift your mindset?
When I paid attention and recognized I had no control. It sucks when you start to live, as you're going through life, it starts to feel like you're just going with emotions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't really have control over your life. That sucks, man. And I, you know, the realizing, you know, it's too much. This is such a deep topic because y'all put me through therapy. I don't know how I feel about it. So right. So
let it out, sir.
At a young age, at a very, very young age, I remember telling myself explicitly, I'm not going to be like my father. I refuse. I refuse to be like him. Then I had kids. And I realized I was lashing out at them. My oldest son, I feel terrible because I was from jump. I'm talking about from jump, like really lashing out in anger at this little itty bitty boy who is here to learn from me. Because he doesn't know anything. I am his world. Right? He doesn't know anything. So he's just going through life the best way he knows how. And he looks up to me. When he steps out of line or when he does something, he makes a mistake, I lash out at him. I was lashing out at him. I wasn't giving him mercy. My patience wasn't there. And voila,
That's tough.
I became like my father. The very thing I told myself I did not want, I became. That let me realize you can will it, or you can say it all you want, but until you recognize that there is something inside of you that needs to be changed, and that is what you, and essentially what I'm getting at is I was hurt. I've been broken, and I needed to be healed. And a lot of times what happens is we try to tie our healing to the person who hurt us. I can't be healed until you get right. Not recognizing sometimes that may never come.
That's true.
That may never come. So does that mean that your healing can't come? No, that's not what that means. But we tend to feel that way, and so we remain hurt, and we remain hurt in that hurt, and we never get healed. Instead of realizing, actually, having that resentment towards somebody, why forgiveness is so important, and it's a part of the healing process. It's akin to drinking poison, but you expect that other person to die.
Right.
It's not how it works. So I had to learn how to forgive. And in order to do that, I had to change how I thought about the thing. How I thought about this person. In order for me to be right, in order for me to truly be able to evolve and to grow and to be what my son needs.
Right.
That's a part. That's just one aspect of the healing and the changing your mindset and growing. Forgiveness is tied into that. That's what I'm saying. It's like a bowl of spaghetti, what we're talking about right now. And we trying to pull each noodle out. Like, this is a lot. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about changing your
eat it with a
mindset,
spoon.
right? For real though. But everybody's different, and everybody has different experiences.
Very much so.
What you have to do is you have to really want it, and you have to really want to change.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not a clear cut. It's not clear cut for everybody.
Right.
It'll look different for me than it will look for Genovia. It'll look for you, Keita. Like, it's gonna look different. Or for the guy. Is that guy?
That is.
Yeah, that's guy.
I
He's
need
our
your video
moderator.
on, you guy. Hold up. I need your video on.
It's I.
What up, though? Stop playing, yo. You don't want to see your face. You over there with a pretty smile. You need that video on. Nah, but like everybody's healing is gonna look different because everybody went through different stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yo, what's up? You
So,
like yeah.
do you feel like well, I don't know if we're supposed to be asking questions.
You can
But, oh, okay.
I'm gonna ask questions. I'm gonna ask some.
So, do you feel like that people actually know or feel like they need to change, regardless if it's for themselves, regardless if it's for their kids, whatever? Do they feel like in any aspect that they need to change?
That's the part, though. That's where everybody that's what when you hit that, when you meet the crossroads, it's a point in everybody's life where they have the space. Everybody has the space and the opportunity to change. First off,
Very much so.
do people realize it and recognize it is different? That's the thing. But God gives everybody the space and the opportunity to change. You woke up this morning, you have the space to change, and also you have the times and situations that come in your life where you come to realize, okay, well, you should be able to see, okay, this ain't working.
But I think that they do. Like you said, they get the opportunity and the space to change, and that they should recognize. I think that they recognize it. But when do you get to a point that you're actually going to take that step? And everybody, go ahead.
When you throw a pillow, or when you are
but
what?
You have
I'm saying. Okay, so James, she earlier was talking about where her mind shifted. Right, she threw a pillow at her child. Right, and so that's when she was like, "Oh no, I can't do that." So then James changed.
That's the part, though.
He realized what he was doing with his child. I think it's people realize it, like you know earlier that you want to change or you have to change, but you ignore it for as long as you can because things are going. It's about being in your comfort zone. You don't want to come out of that, and you don't want to see the ugly, like we was talking about. You don't want to do the work.
That's the work that has to take place in order for you to become a different person, genuinely a different person.
Right.
To have a genuine change requires you to genuinely change your mind, how you think about things. When your kid is doing that the next time, how are you going to perceive it the next time? Is it are you going to meet them with patience? You know what I mean? Or are you going to meet them with, sit your, and you snap?
You made me jump a little bit because
I understand. Listen, be vicious. I'm saying, you know what I mean? But like when you that is real, and to get the fact that you recognized it, to God be the glory. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, when that happens, that's what that person deserves. So that's what I'm saying. So are those moments? Everybody has the moments where they should be able to see, okay, I'm wilding, or this is not the right way to go about a thing or do a thing or whatever. But do you recognize it?
Some people don't. I feel like so many people are sunken into their mindset or into their emotions that sometimes it's not plausible to get to a point of changing. Just like I was telling them earlier. So I've been depressed or whatever. So going back to the pillow throwing, basically I was at that point and I was depressed. I had so many emotions going through my head, and depression and anxiety literally stuck on me. So I didn't, like you said, at the time, like you feel like that person deserves it. But in the midst of everything, like we have to find a way to come out. Regardless of what your outlet is, we have to find a way to come out of that certain mindset.
Right.
Whether it's,
So,
anger and depression or whatever it is.
So, I will say I've been reading. I read this book, Outwitting the Devil, and I be telling everybody about it because the book literally forced me to actually get into this place of changing my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's I think it's Napoleon Hill. He had a conversation with the devil, and one of the things that he talked about was hypnotic rhythm, right? Where he puts us in this rhythm of we continue to do the same thing over and over again. Like we think we're out of it, but then we come back and we do the same thing over and over again. And like the book is really like when I look back over my life and I think things over, no, but when I really look back
You
and
hear me?
I look at my life,
I
I saw where I was in the hypnotic rhythm. Like I was doing the same thing over and over again. I would get depressed and then I'm like, oh, nope, I got to get up out of this. I'm not doing this. But then next month I was in the same thing. Right.
The
And I was
world is
just,
caught. The world is caught in the hypnotic rhythm.
yeah.
Everybody's caught in the hypnotic rhythm. That is the ploy. That's one of the ploys of the enemy, is to keep you in this in a sedentary place where you're not moving. You're going through and you're doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're calling it life.
Right.
When God's calling you, saying that no, He wants to give you life and what's more abundant. That's something that we don't understand, though.
Right.
There's a different way of doing things. It's a different way of thinking. What you were saying, be like, the depression leads you to the struggle of a lot of people are stuck in the emotions part. But that's what I mean. Once you realize, though, you can have control over your emotions. It requires you to change your thoughts. It's not just, I'm not going to be sad right now. That's so hard. Like that you're trying to will yourself to not do a thing.
Right. Right.
It's only but a certain amount of time where that's going to fail. Like that's not going to hold up.
It's going to be over and done with.
That's not going to hold up. But if you were to get to the foundation, one of those things that people, I think Christians all over struggle with, somebody come up, slap taste out your mouth, turn the other cheek, let them slap the other side. Like that right there, for most people is like, okay, you know what I mean? It sounds good, but really, really though, that's how most people read that scripture. Honest in their heart. That's how they read that scripture. Because if I was to haul off and slap taste out your mouth, it's time to, earrings. It's time. We gotta get busy. We gotta get busy. So that's most people, right? But people don't understand that underlying what Jesus is saying is, if you have the ability to have that type of control over yourself, you win every time, no matter how many times you get slapped.
Very much so.
The fact that you had control, it's all about being able to have control over yourself. You are not a slave to your emotions. You shouldn't be.
Right.
Most people are.
Yes.
But you're not supposed to be a slave to your emotions. Your emotions should be under your control.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we haven't been conditioned to do that because we don't think about everybody in your family. Ain't nobody really been conditioned to do that. You know what I'm saying? Keita? And none of our families, nobody's been conditioned to do that.
No.
From generation to generation to generation to generation, and it's time. The generational, it's more generational curses that need to be broken.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
One of those is having the ability to have control over yourself. Number one, that's the first thing. You have the ability to have control over yourself. Your life will be completely different. And I'm seeing small fruits of that as I go along and as I'm practicing this thing and I'm trying to get it together. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying I got it mastered. No, James ain't got it mastered. I was just mad a couple of hours ago. Don't.
Man.
Tight. I'm like, I got this podcast and these fools up in this thing taking their time with the car. Don't even, I ain't got it mastered.
I feel you, Doc.
I believe that I can have it mastered, though. Mm-hmm. I am not saying that just because I don't have it mastered, it can't be done.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't gonna be done overnight.
It's not. It's not. First off, you have to. This is something. In order for you to pick up a new habit, I can't. Somebody told me it was a book. It's a book that I'm supposed to be reading. A lady said that I can't remember the name of the book, but in the book she essentially said in order to pick up a new habit, you have to do the same thing repetitively, like in your mind, like the science behind it, like 63 times,
66,
something like
66 times,
something like that, right? So you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
So with that on a base to the scientific level,
right?
You got to have the commitment.
Mm-hmm.
The discipline to do a thing over and over and over. Something different. If you want a different way of doing things, you got to do it different. If you want a different outcome, you got to do it different.
Exactly.
Right.
You got to do something different. And so
if you always do what you always done,
you're going to get the same thing. And so first off, like it was a challenge that was posed to me this past Sunday, like to everybody, to get a new habit and to remain to it and stick to it, stick to it,
mm-hmm.
and see what happens. I seen a I think it was Mike Tyson, I believe it. He had recently said, was it Mike Tyson? I might be tripping, but somebody, I can't remember. I heard it from somewhere. He was like, if you don't have discipline, you will lose your life. Like having control of your life means that it is all tied into discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I firmly believe that.
I believe it.
If you don't have the discipline to do a thing, that means that how can you ever see yourself having control?
Mm-hmm.
I will
say, like you touch on a whole lot of things that we talk about in our group session, right? Like, one of the things that I tell them is to come. They get mad. I'm pretty sure they are, but I have them come up with 7 positive self-talk statements, right? And they have to have one for each day. And I tell them, you have to say this one statement, like every time you get into a place of where you're upset or something. Like I have mine in my purse, and I have to pull mine out on a regular at work, and I'll say to me, I am a powerhouse. I can make it through this day. I am a powerhouse. I can make it through this day. 5 times, right? When you say it 5 times, it does something to your mind to get you out of that mind space to get into another one, right? So I want to be able to instill this into the girls, so I myself am looking these things up and doing these things myself. So when you said that 66 days, I just told the girls, I was like, y'all been with me since August. We've been well over 66 days. What is going on? Like what we doing? Help me so I can help you. But to hear somebody else say it is just like, okay, so Marquita, you are on the right track. You are telling me.
You're not tripping, yo.
For them. So like I appreciate that. I will say time is getting away from us. So we will definitely have to do we would definitely need to do a part 2.
Hanging this thing. I done talked up all the time. My fault, y'all.
No, you didn't.
No,
You
they ain't even it.
You know the thing that they saying.
This was good.
You understood the assignment, and the conversation was absolutely amazing. Amazing. I picked the right 2 people. The fact that you both were transparent when you were talking to us and giving us your life experience. Everybody's not gonna do that, and it's okay. But I picked the right 2 people, and I appreciate y'all. The next time I'm gonna have a couple of other people up here, and I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna let the 4 of y'all talk and just get these questions out. To everybody
Don't get
out
too
there,
many people that talk as much as us.
There is beauty that I believe wholeheartedly that I say this for broken people, for people who perceive themselves to be broken. There's beauty in what's broken.
Yes, it is.
And you are, and you know what we tend to believe is if you break it, it's lost its usefulness, and that's not the truth. It's not the truth. Because God, I mean, when you're broken, God puts you together. When it's just broken, when it's broken, it's a new use for it, and it's gonna be it's not useless. You know what I'm saying? It's still very useful in what's broken. And that goes for people. You know what I'm saying? So I firmly believe that. Everybody in here had some degree in certain capacity. The guy over there extra quiet. Her too. Like, I know to a certain degree, she may be broken in certain places. Katie, you might be broken in certain places. I know for sure I'm broken in certain places. No, you broken in certain places. But that's not who you are.
Very much so.
You feel me? So understanding that, and I love that the positive affirmations is important. You know what I'm saying? To say those things and saying them out loud, because as soon as you speak out loud, most of us are so used to saying things negatively inside our head. So once we gotta be able to gain captive those thoughts. Allow God to occupy the high place in your mind, so you'll be able to think about those positive things. Philippians 4, it says, whatever's good, whatever's perfect, whatever's pure, the things, and Paul lists a whole bunch of things, and then he says, think on these things. There's a reason why he says that. They all understood. It's here. You know what I mean? This is where it all starts. If you have power, if you have control over this, you will do fine. This is most of us. This thing right here is sick, and needs to be healed. You know what I'm saying? Love y'all.
Love you too.
Zenobia, do you have any last words?
No.
Igaya, it's not part of the plan as usual. But do you have any words?
I didn't, but since James keep calling me, I'm supposed to say thank you.
I'm gonna call you out every time you speak. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we do right there.
Well, see, listen, I just got into a place. I didn't know everything was going to happen the way it happened to them. And then I was actually going to go into the house and turn my camera on for real. But then there was like this baby frog on the porch, and can't step right back in my car and turn my camera back on and join back in. This is where I have been for the last 30 minutes. Debating on whether I want to get inside that house or if I'm just going about my life tonight. But I have enjoyed both of you all so much. It's been good.
Bro, got control of your mind. You gotta let go.
We have a comment. Our first comment. Shanika said this is good. And Tanya Holly said, amen. Your flaws make you who you are. Your tribulations and shattered parts make you unique. We all have a story to help someone else. That was beautiful.
Very much so.
That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. That comment is amazing. Shout outs to whoever to the lady that said that. That's beautiful. Because that's the truth. You know what I mean? That's the absolute truth. We are all a work of art, man. In the grand scheme of things.
Thank you guys so much again for sitting on the panel. Thank you out there in Facebook and YouTube world for tuning in with and being engaging with Chats with Mac. Please tune in next Friday for our discussion on becoming an entrepreneur. Same time, same place. Once again, thank you, and please support Mac Mentoring and have an amazing evening.